because you want these men in prison. You want them dead. You want them broke. Because lawsuits happen when you settle things with violence. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth about Shaq. Let's go back to that for a minute. I don't think Shaq is really ever gonna punch anybody in the face. I really don't. I think that Shaq is probably just talking. And that's true. We have a lot of people in the community that just talk. People don't really do stuff. And so I personally believe that because he's so intelligent, and again, I believe he's intelligent, I believe that he's just talking and trying to sound tough. That's what I think's happening. I would be stunned if he ever goes somewhere and really punches somebody in the face, because he knows as well as I do, as well as anybody does, that this sort of activity draws massive lawsuits. And also just in terms of other exhibits of times where violence was very costly. Anybody know who that guy is? Anybody remember this guy right here? Who is this guy? Put his name in the chat. It's a very sad story. I'm gonna be really sensitive because I know people that know him. His name's Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez was a guy who won a Super Bowl and a couple Super Bowls with the New England Patriots. He was a tip-top. He was a top-notch tight end, and he would go to the club and people would talk crazy to him, and then he ended up killing the guy. I think he killed one or two people or something. And so they didn't believe that he did it, because they said, why would a guy that just won a Super Bowl decide he wants to kill somebody? Well, I personally believe Aaron actually has that CTE. I believe that's what's going on. I believe a lot of NFL athletes, they have brain damage. The vast majority of them have CTE. It's not like it's a rare condition. It's very popular and common. And so anyway, long story short, he ends up going to prison, and he ends up killing himself in prison. So here you had a guy that signed a $20-30 million contract, at least, had millions of dollars in his future that he was going to earn, and now his daughter is left with nothing. His family is left with sadness, all because whatever was required for him to show discipline, emotional discipline, was not there. Again, with him, I make a slight exception just because I wonder if he has CTE. I think the same thing about the other guy, and not Antonio. What I'm talking about? He runs Antonio. Is it Brown? And Antonio Brown, is that his name? He acts kind of weird too, and I think it's a CTE, honestly. And another person that I think about who lost probably $1 billion or more because of a lack of emotional discipline would be this guy right here, Mike Tyson. I love the way Mike Tyson has repaired himself over the years. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the fact that he has done a great job of rebranding himself. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like somebody worth talking to. He's got a lot of wisdom. But I'd be willing to bet you that if Mike could go back and live his life again, go back to being Iron Mike Tyson, the 21-year-old who's knocking everybody out in 30 seconds, I bet you he would do that, largely because this is a guy who should be worth about $5 billion by now. If Mike Tyson had somebody, let's say somebody like me in their ear, giving him advice on both life and on wealth, Mike Tyson could have built an empire unlike any other. But instead, Mike Tyson is a guy who's probably doing okay, but I would argue that Mike is a shadow of the man that he would have been if somehow he'd been able to get the help that he needed, mainly the therapy and the guidance he needed to have the emotional discipline not to get involved in things that eventually ruined him. And again, this is a culture. This is not, I mean, it's not hard that I can point to many examples. I can point to DMX, who could have sold more albums than Tupac and Jay-Z combined if he was still alive. DMX, instead of being the billionaire he was supposed to be, he's dead. He died from a drug overdose.